What if I told you there was a 80 to 90% chance that you will lose? Will you still play the game with me? What if I told you that during your competition against me, you are rigged to lose at a 80 to 90% rate against me having an advantage of 80 to 90% because you was handicapped? Would you still challenge me? What if I told you that your life expectations was at a 80 to 90% chance of failing or falling short? Okay. Would you still go along with my programming? Would you still consider me to be your best advisor, health advisor, your best doctor, if your chances at success was just lower than 80 to 90%, which only gives you pretty much 10 or 15%? Would you really continue that mentality? What if I was to tell you I can prove to you that what I teach is real, unlike your belief system or your religion, which goes by faith and other people's words? What if I told you that I have evidence in your physical American world right now that can actually show you that Morpheus means business? Well, walk with me for a moment here, because I have some things to show you. See, in any argument or debate that you might have, you have to understand that more people are doing it for the wrong reason than there are those who are doing it for the right reasons. So there will be various red pill content people who are giving you the red pill, and teachers across the internet or around your world, or maybe even in your neighborhood, that's giving you facts and dropping diamonds right before you. But unfortunately, it may not be you, but it's others who aren't willing to comprehend that it is not everyone doing the same thing at one time. It's a battle of what should be done versus what isn't being done. It isn't about, or generally about, what's right or what's wrong. What's right and what's wrong is an opinion. It's an opinion, and it's a perception by the individual based on how they were raised or what they believe in. Again, it's usually about what should be done and what is being done versus what isn't being done, or what is counterproductive, okay, to put it in those combinations. So however, the measure that is understood and seen around the country is usually based on those who are doing it for the wrong reason, or the negatives, such as the negative effects of marriage, or such as the high divorce rate in marriage, or the high rate of broken homes, or single mothers. Okay, it is a larger majority that goes against the whole. So whenever there's an argument about, well, there is success somewhere in the country, or yeah, there are successful marriages, or yeah, there are people who are getting along, and the argument goes on. Yeah, there's one bad church, but there's another church. Yeah, this pastor is teaching that, but the other pastor is teaching something else. Okay, when you hear that from a person, or just from an individual that say, well, you may say that it's about this thing, but I know about it in my town, or in my city, or over here in this country, we don't do like that. You know, just sit down and laugh at people. Like, just look at them with big eyes and just don't say nothing. Just look at them and walk away real slowly. Okay, walk away as if you move too fast. They might bark at you like a dog or something. Just walk slowly away and don't waste your time with them. Okay? Because it's not about the minority on a general basis. It's about the fluidity of the larger force. So when there's something that's active, such as the use of technology or the use of, let's say, for example, abortions, okay, or any other type of thing that the majority of people are irritated about, okay, whatever that force is or system, it is more people in that circle who uses it for wrong than there are for right on a general basis here as a circumference. Now, I'm going to give you several ideas and several examples of what I mean if you cannot apply it to a life. The reason why I didn't put a title on that or say any specific situation, because this is a large array that covers just about every situation that even you may have experienced or wherever you are or whatever you are thinking about right now. Because this is a power tool I'm giving you. This is a power tool that you can use for practically almost everything. When you are debating, when you are teaching, when you are trying to get an understanding, when you are sitting in a church, wherever you are, always use as a keynote. Always use as the very basic strengthening point to know that there is more people using it for the wrong reasons than there are people doing it for the right. And there will always be, until we get ourselves together here in America, until we start moving backwards to the positive, more sensible, traditional lifestyles that we used to have that was more befitted for everyone in the city, town, and country, we're just going to keep going downhill and we're going to continue down the path of destruction because the force is greater than the opposite. Your chances of losing is greater than success. Okay? It doesn't matter where there's 4 or 5 different successful people or there are 4 or 5 people who have made it through the threshold. Or you have been fortunate since birth with a silver or golden spoon in your mouth. Or everything has been handed down to you. Everything has been given unto you or your family or the groups or even people that you may know of as you are struggling. It's not about them and it's not about you. It's about the majority. So let's get that ground straight and lay that foundation as a form of learning as we shall progress forward. Okay? Now, as Morpheus, you know I hate the machine. There is only one machine that is intriguing nowadays because it's an ever-going motion of function, and that is the automobile. Okay? But I am not into it like I used to be because most automobiles now are constructed to look the same as others. There's too much cookie cutter copy cloying going on. There's too many designers that can't think for themselves. And yes, I'm putting it out there. And yes, I can care less what they think because it's true. There's too many of them that are flip-flopping, and the only designs that they know how to make now in your car is just something wavy or curvy. There's not too many evolutions anymore. Okay, not like it used to be. Okay, the daring designs are almost out the door. There are very few of them that are trying to do any daring designs or something different than what other car makers are doing. But because on a general basis, they just want to make a sale, okay? And they want to be able to get out there and reach certain populations or certain groups of people that will buy their product. So in their mind, it's better to just go with the money or go with the flow. So therefore, they end up being part of the sheep herd or cattle, okay, and you end up seeing this automobile that's the same as the rest of the other automobiles, but with just a different symbol, okay, but it has the same components, same potential, same planned obsolescence, plastic, fiberglass, and technology for dumb people who can't think for themselves, okay. So therefore, the automobiles I'm concerned about, obviously, you know, wouldn't be about that circulation or in that type of cluster of sheep. Okay, I'm more interested in the greater, more prestige automobiles that deserve honor and respect, that stick with their designs, they keep things simple, and they put the power in the control of the owner or the driver. Okay, now getting on to the services. As I've told you before about my evidence, We have a potential to think only for ourselves today. We are so hell-bound into only concerning ourselves with what we feel, what is in our pocket, how we are able to support our foundation, our financial growth. We're not thinking about the children of the future. And it's becoming more evident and more real than I'm comfortable to even talk about. And what I mean is this. Let's talk about the computers itself. As we speak, they are coming up with new designs and new computers that are doing the small jobs that some of you don't like to do. Small jobs that actually include your human physical body. Small jobs that include your memory, your own motor skills, your own cognitive abilities, subconscious and conscious mind, frontal lobe, and even your emotions that are being played with stimulations that are actually provided to you by the medications or medicines that are also conjured up by computers and machines that have to formulate this pill in order to give it to you. So there are multiple ways that you are being manipulated or being bombarded into the system and being left to not have the ability to do it on your own, because doing it on your own to some of you in this new generation of people is too hard, because you don't rely on your human superiority. You rely on your human dependency with the excuse of being fragile and lazy at the same time, which does nothing but trade your natural ability to make the machine stronger. Now I'm going to get to the core of this conversation. Now I want you to sit down with me here, Neo, and I'm going to show something to you that you probably haven't saw and probably you don't care about, but you need to care because it's based on the future. What you must know is the future doesn't create the future. What does that mean, Morpheus? The future does not create itself. Things aren't made on the whim. It's not made instantly. That means what you do now will affect the future. What we are going through today is a result of what was made 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, and for some, even 30 years ago. Okay? So we don't have long vision on a constant basis because we're too busy caught up in ourselves and our own finances. Now, I told you about the machine. They're making machines that are going to do the jobs that we used to do when we were kids. Jobs that you might need if you make a mistake, such as if you just simply when you want a simple job just to make money as a teenager, when you need extra cash in your pocket, when you need a sub job to be able to provide for whatever hobbies and habits that you might have when you were 12, 13 years old. Yes, there are jobs for 12 and 13-year-olds, and there's jobs for 17-year-old kids. And there are those who are 18 and 19 years old that don't really have a degree and are probably still in school at the same time. You know, those usual jobs are fast food places like McDonald's. There are some janitor jobs that you can get into. They just simply cleaning rooms and taking out the trash. Okay. And there's jobs where you can be a bagger, or jobs where you can be an assistant in any type of store, maybe the back room or the front room. However, what you must understand is in some of the mainstream jobs like fast food places, the practices have already been done. Like the automatic fryer machine that they have in McDonald's, and other automatic machines that are doing what some of you as teenagers used to do years ago, that probably seen you through high school and whatever, and was able to pay for your first car or your first video game or your first comic books that you was interested in, that your dad and mom told you to go out and get a job to supply you with. So therefore, slowly but surely, they're bringing in the computers and robotics to take your position. Not your position. You should take it as personal as your position, but usually it will be your children who will have to suffer your neglect of them. I'm going to tell you why. Just bear with me. So therefore, eventually over time, there may be several jobs that still may exist, such as the fast food places, working at White Castle, McDonald's, Hardee's. The list keeps going on and on and on. Whereas your children or great-grandchildren might have the ability to either work there to survive whatever tough times they may get into, or like I was getting ready to say, sometimes people make bad decisions in their life. Sometimes they make failures in the beginning portions of their life where they drop out of high school. They need to provide themselves a simple job that doesn't require a high school diploma or GED. Okay. On an often basis, the rate of success is lower and it's not as great as some of you may think it is. So therefore, they need a backup plan. And that's one of the big things that's in discussion that we're having right now. Our children need a backup plan just in case they fail. And failure is there just as well as success is. But there is a high rate of failure that we are overlooking. Okay. The children need a backup plan should they decide not to go to school. Should they decide to be with the wrong groups of people, should they decide or by force be raised in the wrong type of atmosphere, under the wrong parent or parenting family who's living a rough and tremendous lifestyle. Okay. So therefore, those jobs are generally there to either support them and help them to survive those rough ends and those rough times temporarily until they advance to want to go back to school or do better for themselves. That is a common sense that used to be pretty much acceptable in the old days and in society. Okay, generally the adults or people like you and I would look out for those misfortunate children or kids or teenagers who had a bad run-in in her life, in their function or in their family. However, what you don't know, and a lot of other people don't comprehend around your country of America, why I mean it's a selfish parameter now or percentage. What do I mean when I tell you that we aren't looking into the far future? Well, now they have a stock market thing where, of course, it's been around for a while, where you can invest in these new computers. You can advance your money into the machines, the robotics that they are planning to make to replace your great-grandchildren's job. Whereas you are only concerned about your stock market and your pocketbook, building up your funds or whatever you are trying to do, your empire. Okay, while you are investing in the Matrix's computer, that computer in the future is going to replace your child's ability to survive. That computer that you are investing in for yourself, because they want your money to build up their prophecy, if you want to call it prophecy, to build up their robotic world and the computer to take form and take and replace your child's natural humanity. Okay, same as any movie that you might see. Okay, it will be your fault for doing so. Okay, because all you was concerned about was, well, the stock market said we should go ahead and invest in robotics today because it's a good format to do it now, because we're going to get some money from that. People are going to start buying it all around the country. What did I just tell you? And I'm going to get ahead of myself right now, because I'm going to stop you before you even get to your thoughts, because I know you're going to think before you think it. I told you that the majority of people use a thing, they use it for wrong and not for right on an often basis. If you look around you with some of the new so-called high-powered automobiles, which aren't really high-powered, it's just temporary junk for now until it becomes salvage, such as some of the Camaros, such as some of the Dodge Chargers that you may see. Only often when you are down on the road, okay, especially around 2019, 2020, there's always somebody doing a burnout somewhere. There's always somebody across the street trying to show off. There's always somebody on the main road who may be next to you or in front of you trying to gun it straight forward. Okay, those components in those cars aren't going to last long. Okay, it's not going to happen. Okay, so you may have an older, respectful gentleman or just an individual altogether who won't drive it like that. Okay, they respect the automobile. They understand planned obsolescence. They know about heavy usage of what they use, okay, is going to be a cost. So they take their time with it. They might still have their cars, while those who decide to do the burnouts and drive it to hell, basically, will find their cars in a salvage yard and them out of money. But let's go with the cell phones as well. There are some people who need their cell phones just for simple communication. They need the smartphone for the sake of being able to get onto the internet, do their research, and get some business done on the side, real business. Okay, not trying to do selfies and Instagram and nonsense that's not producing anything but the same deranged, receded society. Okay, you may have a handful of those type of people, but then you have others who are in a more higher percentage who love to use their phones at the wrong time. Okay, text and drive, text while they're walking, text while they're sitting at the dinner table, text and chat while they're in front of 5 different people, forgetting how to interface with the organic matter that's in front of them. Okay, and those are in such a high percentage where even the country itself have to put out laws, and they have to put out restrictions and limitations on where and how you use your cell phone, because the majority of them are using it for the wrong reason and only a handful of them are using it for the right. Do you understand? So therefore, okay, as I told you in the beginning of this audio, no matter the argument that you may have, when teachers like myself come to you, we're not talking about the people who are doing right, because they are usually irrelevant, because the higher force is causing the ripples of the wave and causing more distortion and destruction than there are those who are really having a successful lifestyle, are using it for the right reason. Because you have too many people who are agreeing with destruction than those who are not. And usually we don't know our limits. And I'm going to get to you with that in just a second. Okay. So in this subject, as you are investing in the new way of living, as what people may say, or the new reality, you and a whole lot of other people aren't thinking about the children of tomorrow. Whereas the more we computerize everything, the more we make things push button, start, stop, automatic, emote control, put an app for everything. You don't have to run your fingers through a dictionary. Just run your finger across your Apple phone. Okay. The more we are making life lazy, the more we are transforming our humanity to be transhumanism, to the point where when your grandchildren come into play after you are gone, you are going to be responsible for their new reality that you did nothing but promote, because you was only worried about your stock market. You were worried about your investment. You was only worried about your life. But you must understand that life goes on beyond you. Life is going to continue, and what the results will be is based on what you are doing today. Okay, whereas your great grandchildren will say, thank you, great dad and mom. I see that you cared about me today by what you did in the past. I appreciate that you made life lazy and you made me useless to myself. Because the corporations, those with large systems and indoctrination programming worldwide, okay, got enough money to buy a country 2 times over, okay, by your help and your support. So when you buy a product that's being sold, okay, that's another power notch underneath their belt, and they will continue to produce their programming, whereas humanity becomes even more lazier, to the point where you don't even have to walk. You just sit on a hoverboard. Oh, oops. Oh, that's actually happening. Oh, that's right. We have motor scooters now. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, we got skateboards that you don't even have to paddle your feet anymore. You just stand on it. Amazing, Morpheus. Wow. You see how easy that was to figure that out? We already have that before your face. Once upon a time, you did have a skateboard or a paddle where you can just use your legs, your organic muscles and strength to get to where you need to go. And you wonder why we aren't as sufficient as we used to be. We insufficient to ourselves because we're not using our full faculties. And that's another reason why we're not using our brains to the fullest capacity. Your brain is the motherboard of all that you do. Your brain is attached to your feet, your hands, your legs, your touch, your feel, and your senses all around your body. Whenever you transform those abilities for the ability of a computer for any reason, okay, you rob yourself and you cheat your humanity, and you decrease your full brain's potential as well to do what it was made to do. So therefore, by way of habit and practicality, your brain and your internal self becomes useless. It becomes useless. And then every argument that you will have will be senseless and illogical as what you have been experienced back in 2020 and in 2019. Okay? Or even before that. Why is it senseless? Because your brain is not focusing on its full throttle. It's not focusing on all the senses with reality in the sense of instincts anymore, and the connection to the universe and basically the earth in which a lot of nature have come from. Okay? But we are promoting that because all we see is today. We're not looking at it 5 years from now. And the argument that most people will have is, which is not an argument, they'll say, well, you know, I got to be financially stable. I'm going to keep investing in all this stuff and continue to keep a blinded eye to the children of tomorrow. Oh, well, I worked hard. I did all I could do to make my riches and my foundation. I don't care about my great-great-grandkids. No, I don't care if they have to suffer. Maybe it's a good life for them to just sit back and be lazy. Maybe it's okay for them to sit in the car, push a button, say, hey, take me to Chicago. And they just lay in their car and just sit there and play with their smartphones because their mind's not in it. Okay. And just continue on, and their body is completely inactive. Thanks to you. Thanks to your money. Thanks to your stock market. Thanks because you wanted to invest in the computer and not in human advancement. That's why we are at a de-evolution. That's why we are receded. That's why we aren't as potentially Einsteins as we can be. And that's why we have to cookie cut and copy after other people, because we can't come up with concepts and imaginations of our own because we are so superior now. No, we are not. Now, as I have promised, we don't see the far future because we are so headlong into self and our selfish drive and ambition to only be about self. Now, I always talk about being greater than what you are programmed to be. And yes, I still stand by that. I always talk about you being your own God and evolving and standing firm on your foundation. But I did not tell you to be selfish. I didn't tell you to turn your back on other people. And I never told you to stand alone and leave all the children and the innocent people who need your support and your services behind. That's not what I teach, and that's never going to be what I preach. Okay? My discussions are usually based on those who need your help and your power, and most of those are children of tomorrow. Okay? There's not going to be too many kids the same as what we have today who have the benefit of success, who will automatically go from age 1 to age 18 without any problems. Okay? Because most of them are in a broken home today. Marriages aren't lasting like they used to, and relationships definitely isn't lasting like they used to. And the drive to procreate isn't as serious in some cultures as it once was, because now we don't trust each other. So therefore, who's left behind is children who are being born for fun. They're being born out of accidents, and they're being born out of deceptions from the opposite sexes. Okay? So therefore, the concern of their future is pointless at that point. Okay? So they end up not having a foundation. What ends up happening for those kids, and I know this because, I'm Morpheus, is who I am, is they end up needing to have counseling programs in school. They have somewhat of a support group, peer groups that they may have, and there's some available programs after school should they go the opposite direction or end up on the bad footing. But what you must understand is that's not enough, because The foundation of it all, as I teach all the time, starts at home. The foundation started with mommy and daddy. When that's already a broken pencil or a broken picture, okay, that's not operating right through the lens of their possible perception of a bright future, okay, then that distortion continues for a long time, where there are some children can survive it. Okay, there are a few who will bounce back and they come out just fine. They'll graduate, they'll get their college degrees, and they'll make something of the future. I didn't say make something out of themselves. We got to get that out of our lexicon. Stop telling these kids to make something out of themselves. They are somebody. Okay, when you are born, you are somebody special. You understand? You got to stop saying that. When they graduate from whatever school that they are, they're just providing some type of means for the future. Okay, they're becoming an asset to whatever company or corporation they decide to work for or to make for themselves, if they so happen to be the boss or the leader. They're already a special person. They just gaining skills to be better, okay, than whatever skills that they have had before. They're just polishing themselves. We need to start giving them more confidence and telling these children and teenagers that they are already a unique, special person. They don't have to be a president or be a chief of the fighter crew to get rewards and a trophy. Okay? But of course, that also does not mean that we should say that they are a winner and they're actually losing. Okay? We ought to tell them when they are losing and they are doing wrong, okay, and congratulate them when they are doing right at the same time, so that way they can do better for themselves and they can realize that they're doing wrong. Okay, in that same token, for some of you people, okay, just because they don't run across the finish line and the other person win, that doesn't mean that they won also. Okay, they got to know that they have to run through the checkered flag. They have to win the trophy in order to win. Okay. There's no such thing as an equal winner when you're competing or going against the sport or something like that. You know, you pray, oh, you did good. You did good. Don't cry about it. You did good because you came in second place. No. Don't do that. Just say you did a good job for trying. Just try harder next time, or do a different skill, or change up your game plan, and maybe you have the opportunity to be number one. Okay? Say good job for trying, but that doesn't mean you won, but good for your effort. Okay? Because sometimes, and oftentimes, when I read and I study, we got this thing where, especially here in America, I ain't even gonna go there, from strange people that want to give the child a trophy and they're only in second place, or they didn't win at all, or they just for signing up, you consider them to be the winner. And that's giving them a false perception of reality. That's letting them know that they don't have to try hard enough to win. Okay? When that's not fair for the actual winner who prepped themselves, who was working out night and day in the gym and ate the right foods to actually make it across the checker flag, because it makes their winnings insignificant, and it's not. Okay? That's silly thinking from silly people. You need to stop that mess. Okay? Twisted psychology. However, in the mainline of what I'm talking about here, okay, is that we have to learn how to understand that we are producing the future tomorrow. And some of these things is actually in my book, and it's actually coming to pass. Some of you are purchasing the book late, but it's actually happening today. So it's not like you're going to be missing out on the information should you so happen to get the book now. Okay, but it will prove to you that what I was telling you about is actually happening. Okay, the world of the Matrix is before you, and the machines is taking hold by your participation. It's actually going on right underneath your nose, and you buy into it with your support in your stock markets. Now, when I said there was something else I was going to add to it when it comes to machine, I'm talking about prosthetic parts. Prosthetic parts is like auto mail that people have to wear on their arms or their legs if they lose their leg or arm through amputation. Now that's understandable, okay, because I understand you need an arm and a leg to function. Okay, keep it as simple as that. That's when technology and computers are used for the right. But the reality of it is there's going to be more people using wrong for the right. That means they're going to be using it for the wrong reasons than they are for the right reasons. You'll say, Morpheus, how do you know this? Because we've been doing it for years now, and the practices has been constant for years now. It's not something that I'm talking about. It's something that's actually going on, because we don't comprehend our limits. We keep going until the bridge gives out. If you want an example, there's a good anime slash game that is actually put into a movie as well. Well, I don't think they made a movie out of it, but the movie is in the game. And I talked to you about this before. It's called Dexus, if that's how you pronounce it. But y'all understand what it is. DEUX, UX. But this is space between the DEUX space UX. Or it's probably US. I could be wrong. In that game adventure, it was talking about how humans are able to combine their body with computers, change their arm for a more powerful arm, their legs for a more powerful leg. In their eyes, it started off innocent as well. It was just automail and prosthetic limbs to help people to live again to their greatest in function. Okay? To be able to walk again, to be able to see again, to be able to eat well again. All right, that is fair. Morpheus agrees with that. That I will agree to that. But the problem is, what did I tell you? The only reason why it would be a bad idea is because there are more people using it for wrong than those who will use it for right. So unfortunately, we will end up with the Dexus catastrophe. It really will be human divided. Humanity would destroy itself because it always do with whatever is created. I gave you examples of those who just want to burn out with their car, those who use a smartphone for the wrong reasons because they're not smart themselves, those who want to computerize everything, those who like to manipulate, those who use marriage just for financial stability. Okay, hello. Those who have the wrong intentions to use good products for bad behavior. Even household products and chemicals that years ago was used as meth. Okay, when it was supposed to be cleaning agents to clean your house, somebody's cleaning something else out of their system. Okay, so it usually happens on a larger majority scale where it is not worth getting into, because there are too many people today than what it used to be who aren't of the right thinking, who is hell-bent on self-destruction. So therefore, it's unfair for those people who need an arm and a leg, okay, to have to suffer for those who might use their arm and leg for the wrong reasons. And another big thing that we need to comprehend, we got bad leaders here in America. We got people who aren't regulating properly as to what should be and what shouldn't be, because often those people are corrupt themselves and they don't have a sense of reality, and they're no different than a mad scientist without a filter. Okay, so they'll just go ahead and give a medication and pill and surgery to anything and everybody, and to hell goes to the world in America. You've seen that for yourself during the news for the past centuries. Okay, you've seen it for yourself. Okay, you'll say, why is it happening? Who has the filter? Who's to say what is safe to use and what not to use? And then that's when the government have to come in and regulate everybody, because those who are making the products are promoting it and supporting it, like yourself with your stock market, aren't using their thinking faculties, and everybody suffers for it. So it's best to just leave it alone altogether, because it's going to be a catastrophe whether we like it or not, because we have more ill thinkers than we do proper thinkers. We got more people who are hell-bent on destruction and being out of control than those who are in control. Because if that weren't the case, we'd have a different country today. We'd have a better time with each other, and we'd have more trust, and we'd have more stable marriages and families if I was lying to you. There's always going to be 5 people, okay, who's going to go the opposite direction to something positive compared to 2 people who have self-control. Because listen, sickness pays. You have to learn that's going on around currently. Bad thinking pays today. Okay. Being mentally distorted pays. Being confused pays. You can fit in You can fit in quite well with the society when you are a confused individual than if you was a straightforward thinker and a logical, masculine force. Okay. because what's twisted and a mystery works. Okay, what's an obvious truth, whether it's good and bad, okay, is considered as a bypass, insignificant subject. Oftentimes people want comfort and excuses. If they don't have their comfort and excuse, they'll make it a comfort and excuse by the twisting of their perception. So therefore they'll buy into the system because it's like a placebo on top of dopamine, okay, where they don't have to face reality. They can just be in la la land with, besides the drugs that they commonly use. Okay, but you must understand the direction in which we are going with what you purchase, and be careful what you are buying into, because you're buying into the very matrix that I'm telling you to avoid. And the people who are going to suffer is the children by your hands and your lack of concern. This is part 1, and I might be making a part 2 depending on the results of this one, depending on the callers that are going to feed in to this knowledge. This is Leon C, aka Morpheus, and I'm sure